Day to Durocher to Reese, it's Double Play with Durocher and Day. With their guest Pee Wee Reese, here's another chapter of Double Play with Durocher and Day. Welcome to another visit with baseball's most exciting and controversial couple, Laraine Day and Leo Durocher, with their guest for today, Pee Wee Reese. Let's listen.
Was it funny you saw the ball the stand?
Well, if it isn't like old times on the Brooklyn Dodgers with our guest, the famous shortstop of the Brooklyn Dodgers, Pee Wee Reese. And I'm sure all of you fans like Pee Wee just as much as we do, although Leo and I happen to be on the opposite side of the fence right now. Tell me, what were you fellas laughing at?
Well, we're telling a few umpire stories.
Well, let me in on them. I like umpire stories.
Yes, from umpire stories to hidden ball tricks, we're going to run the gamut on Double Play today. But now, time out. Let's hold everything for an important message. And now back to Leo, Laraine, and their guest for today, Pee Wee Reese, the famous shortstop of the Brooklyn Dodgers, and Chris Durocher, Leo and Lorraine's little 4-year-old, who's been awaiting this visit anxiously because he, too, has a very important problem.
You want to hear what we were talking about, really?
Sure.
Pee Wee, we may have to change a few of the words, but...
Well, I think so.
Well, you don't
Leo.
have to change them for me. Just say blankety-blank.
All right.
We
They
use a
can
few different
supply.
words when we talk to those umpires out there, right?
Yes.
Oh, well, you know, I never have any trouble with umpires, Pee Wee. I just go up there and doff my
Well,
cap
I
to
tell
them
you, you're
most
a
of the
changed
time.
man.
Oh, sure.
You
I'm
used to have
changed.
trouble when I was with you.
You know, Pee Wee, Jimmy Dyke told me that this happened to him on the ball club, and I don't see how a fellow could think this fast, but it seemed as though Juice, his leadoff hitter, was at the plate, and he took a close pitch when the count was 3-2, and the umpire called him out. Strike 3, and he's out. And there was the biggest rhubarb real quick, and that Juice dropped the bat, and he jumped at that umpire, and he was all over it. And by the time Dykes got there, he lost his shortstop and everything, and he run up to him, and he said, "What'd you put him out of the game for?" He says, "My shortstop, I'm the best ball player. What'd you put him out for?" The umpire proceeded to tell Dykes what Juice had said. It seems as though that Juice had called him a number of things and called him a blind blankety-blank. And Dykes, in turn, said to him, he said, "Well, if you leave out the blind part, how wrong is he?" And, of course, you know what happened to Dykes. He got thrown out, too.
Well, I'll tell you one that happened to me when I first came up with the Dodgers.
Oh, excuse me, Pee Wee. What, dear?
Now?
No, Chris, not now. Come back a little later, okay?
What does he want to do?
What were you saying?
Getting back to my baseball story, Leo, when I first came up to the Dodgers, I was kind of a quiet sort of boy, not like you,
Just a minute now.
Anyway, I was hitting this particular day, and I didn't know the umpire codes, so the umpire was Bill Clem. He called a strike on me, and I turned around and looked at him like this, and that's you should never do that with
that's
Clem.
murder with Clem.
So he said, "Son, don't be looking around here." He says, "That guy out there is fooling you, not me." From here on out, buddy, I never turn around and look at those umpires anymore.
There's a lot of those
Before you tell that story, can I ask Pee Wee if this is true? You had played the Yankees in spring training, and they had beaten you, I guess, about 4 straight. And you
Never
were in
happened.
Oh, all right, 3 straight. Well, anyway, the way the story goes, you were in this little southern town playing an exhibition game. Well, and the fans were giving you a terrific sighting, saying, hey, what the Yankees do to you? What'd the Yankees do to you? And Larry said to Jake, Larry says, "Why don't you turn around and yell, 'What did the Yankees do to you?' And then we'll all run." Did that really happen?
It certainly did, and they weren't hollering, "What did the Yankees do to us?"
What were they
They were
hollering?
hollering, "What did the Giants do to us?"
Oh, well, we were lucky, Pee Wee.
You certainly were.
Oh, we were lucky. I mean,
Well, we had talent. Come on.
one swish of the bat, Pee Wee, and it was all over.
Well,
you
we
know
had
that.
to make it close. We played a little too close.
I guarantee you, some of my players told me, they said, "We had them," you know that old expression, Pee Wee?
We had 'em all the
We
way.
had them all the way. I said, "I wish you'd have let me know because it got awful tight. We couldn't have gone much further." But there's a Clem story, and this happened to me when I was playing. I was with the St. Louis Cardinals, and Bill Clem was umpiring behind the plate. And there was a saying that if you ever hollered at Bill Clem and said, "Hey, catfish," and he heard you, and you were a player, right now you were out of the game. It was just something that you couldn't call Mr. Clem. This day there was some fan off behind home plate, and he kept hollering at Clem, "Hey, catfish, catfish," and Clem couldn't spot him. So I was at the plate, going to take my turn at bat, and Clem brushed off the plate, and he said to me, "Will you point that fellow out to me? See if you can spot that gentleman that is calling me that name." And as he stood up, brushed the plate off. I stood there, and I looked, and I said, he's right. And I no sooner than started to point, he said, don't point, you blankety blank blank. And I said, what are you getting on me for? He said, don't, you numbskull. So naturally, I stood at the plate, and as usual, 1, 2, 3, and he says, you're out. And I walked back to the bench, and as I get back to the bench, I looked up, and he was walking over and had the police put that man out of the park. It's twice I know that since I've been in baseball that when Clem was an umpire, that he had fans put out.
You just couldn't call that.
Oh, no.
You were telling me a story once about Clem and McGraw. What was it? Wasn't it McGraw?
Yeah, that's what it was. I think McGraw was hitting, because I heard this story. Of course, I wasn't there. But anyhow, McGraw Clem had called 2 strikes on McGraw, and the third one he called it a ball. So McGraw said, Clem says, that was the same place the other 2 were. And he said, well, in that case, you're out.
Well, I guess we better get to these questions, and we'll never get them answered, although I could go on forever listening to these wonderful umpire stories. This is from Bangor, Maine.
Mother?
No, dear. Come back a little later. Not now, Chris.
What does he want to do?
Just a minute, dear. This one says, Dear Laraine, here's something I've always wondered. How does an infielder get possession of the ball without the base runner knowing it on the hidden ball play? Bob Forsythe. Okay, you're an infielder.
But I'm not too much of a trick artist with the ball, but I have done it. I've worked it one time since I've been in the major leagues.
And I suppose it's against the Giants?
No, it wasn't. I wish it were.
Oh, fine thing.
The way I did it, I took the ball in and just act like I put the ball in the pitcher's glove. Well, I didn't. I just stood there and talked to the ball, and I slipped it in the back of my glove, in between my palm and my glove. And I walked back to my position and walked over to talk to the guy on second base until he started to talk to me. All of a sudden, I had the ball, and I said, buddy, you're out. And the umpire called. Sometimes the umpire, you have to call the umpire's attention to it, because they even fool
the umpires don't know you have the ball, and if they don't see it, naturally, they're not going to call him out. I just don't remember, Pee-wee, who did it to us. I know who did it. Connie Ryan did it, but who was the player? Who did you pick off?
Lockman.
Was it Lockman? Yeah, and I know I was coaching, too, and they really gave it to me, and I didn't know Ryan had the ball. A coach should watch it, because if the pitcher gets anywhere near the rubber, that's a balk. He can't get up on that mound. He can't get in anywhere in the vicinity of the rubber.
A lot of times around the mound, the pitcher will go and get
the rosin bag.
Rosin bag. And it's shaped a little bit like a ball. You know, he can put the rosin bag in his glove, and you can fool a runner sometime like that. But it's usually probably the coach's fault.
Sure, it's the coach's fault.
He should have found the ball.
Sure.
I can remember a game where the fans told you, and you were coaching at third, and they kept yelling, the ball, the ball, the ball. I don't know which club it was.
Well, I've had it happen. I've had it happen where the fans have hollered.
You called time and asked to see where the ball was.
There's a lot of times you don't know where the ball is. You'll be thinking of something else. Your mind's a million miles away. You're thinking of I got to get this run. I'm going to butter. I'm going to hit and run. The first thing you're going to look up and your man's out. And I would say it's quite embarrassing if you are the manager and you are coaching.
And the player. Well, let's say it's embarrassing all the way around.
Yes, it is.
Well, let's go on to our second question from Topeka, Kansas. Joe Risdit, I think. Would you ask some players if the athlete must maintain a strict conditioning schedule the year-round, or is it just during the playing season?
When I first came up with the Dodgers, Leo knows that I weighed about 150 pounds, and I thought I would never get over 160. But now then, I weigh about 175, 180 strips, and I have to watch my weight, so I do. I ride a bicycle a lot in the wintertime, and I work out with a basketball team, and I live right across from a park, and I go over there and I have a bird dog, and I work out with that quite a bit. So I do think that you have to watch your diet, you have to watch what you eat in the wintertime, and you have to keep your legs in shape, because if you build your legs up in the summertime, and you just completely let them go in the wintertime, then you have to build them back up again. I think it takes something out of them.
You do play a lot of golf, too, don't you, Pee-wee, in the winter?
By the way.
Yeah, he plays a lot of golf, and a real good golfer, by the way. What are you, a 2, Pee-wee, or a 3?
No, I'm about a 5.
Oh, about a 5. Well, that's one of those 5s, a Louisville 5. He's a 5. Yes, he's really a 2 or a 3. That's his correct handicap, but in Louisville, of course, they give him 5, and that makes it easy.
Well, speaking of golf, how about letting our sponsor tee up right now?
And now back to double play.
Well, back to baseball. I have a couple of letters here. I don't know if we're going to have time to answer both of them, so keep your answers short, huh, fellas?
Go ahead.
All right, the first one says, Dear Double Play, why is it that a manager, in order to be successful, apparently has to be unpopular with his players? Of course, there are exceptions, but I'm thinking of McGraw, Southworth, Vitt, McCarthy, and men like that.
I don't think any manager can satisfy 25 ball players.
Well, you can't satisfy, it's awfully hard for one person working in an office of 10 to satisfy everyone.
I mean, the guy who thinks that he should be pitching, and why aren't I pitching? Why, he must not like me, and I'm a better player than this guy playing. I think it happened on every club, Leo.
It certainly does, Pee Wee. There's no way that a manager can satisfy everyone, and you have to change your mode of living, your tactics, and everything else the minute you become a manager. You have to stop being real buddy-buddy with your players. You can be close to them and be very popular with them, I believe, but you just can't be as close to them as you were when you did play with them.
Right.
You do the best you can, and you have to rub certain ones and kick certain ones to get the full amount out of everybody.
What about this? I'm only 5 feet 6 inches and weigh 145 pounds, but want to play professional baseball. Please let me know if I have a chance, or is my size against me?
When Pee Wee first joined the Brooklyn Ball Club, the first year that I was over there, he looked like he belonged in one of the high schools. He looked like a little bitty boy.
Probably played like it.
All I know is this, that I took one look at him and I said, that's all. I hit him a few ground balls and I knew that my glove was about to be hung up and left there. And I don't think you have to be a big fella or anything else. I don't think size enters into it. And I know Pee Wee can name some players for you that'll prove that.
Well, I don't like to mention that other league, but we can name a player with the Yankees. It's not exactly a big strapping fella, but he does a fair job over there. Shortstop, I would say.
But you usually try and have a very tall fellow playing first, don't you?
Well, not necessarily.
Are there very many
it's
little
better
first
if you
basemen?
can.
We had Camilli. He wasn't any taller than
No.
I. Of course, he's a lot broader, but he was about 5'10".
What about a catcher? Can a little guy catch, or should it be a big guy?
I would say a big guy again, because a catcher takes a lot of punishment back there. I mean,
And you want a nice big target, too, for
That's
the
right.
pitcher. I'd rather have big men behind the plate.
Please show me how to play marbles.
Pee Wee, ever since Chris heard that you were coming over, I promised him that you would show him how to play marbles.
I'd love to, Chris. You sit right over here, and I'll show you.
You know, this is how Pee Wee got his name. He used to be the champion marble player.
First, Chris, I want you to get this marble out so you can get it out. Can you get one up now? That's
All
right. Let's
right.
see how you hold it now. No, that's wrong.
Well, I guess we're going to have to quit talking about baseball now. It looks like we have a marble lesson coming up. So see you next week, same time, same station. So long.
You've been listening to another chapter of Double Play with baseball's most exciting couple, Laraine Day and Leo Durocher. Today, Laraine and Leo had as their guest Pee Wee Reese. Join us when again it's time for Double Play with Leo Durocher and Laraine Day, plus another big-time guest star. Double Play is produced by Marty Martin, directed by Ted Nealon, and is a Mar-Ted production.